Assalamu alaikum, my PL family. As you know, with any tournament day, preparation and maintenance is key in order to give our optimal performance during a tournament as well. To help us with that, I'm going to be talking to a person who is a MyPL2 winner, who I've played a lot of football with, and he's grown up in the area as well. I'm going to be talking to Yusuf Ali-Taleb. Assalamu alaikum.
How are you doing? You all right?
Jazakallah. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So as you know, we've got MyPL4 coming, and you've been a MyPL2 winner as well. So you know what it's about. It's intense and a lot of games. But before we go into that as well, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Yusuf Ali-Taleb. Grew up in the Kaizen Road area all my life essentially. And I've been part of the NLMCC football team, and I was also a youth worker there as well, so I helped sort of rear some of the young in the community. I was a coach for their team, etc. So I definitely know a lot of people in the area, and a lot of people tend to know me as well. So I definitely feel it's sort of, the first home as such.
Okay.
Since then, continue to grow up, and alhamdulillah, in terms of my interests, what I tend to do is we're in the space that I'm usually am most days of the week, which is Bloodline Gym in Clapton. So still based in Hackney, where I practice Muay Thai and kickboxing. And alhamdulillah, over the years, I've managed to compete at a professional level where that's able.
I've come to watch some of your fights, and me, Riz, my brother, everyone, we're all shouting, Ali Mumbai,
Yeah, I appreciate you coming down. It's usually a really loud crowd as well, which is what we want. And alhamdulillah, it's allowed me to travel across the world, fly out and fight in different countries. So yeah, I still do it. When the world wants to work and be okay.
Brilliant.
But that's essentially what I've been doing as part of my interest.
Fighting soon again.
Fighting soon, hopefully, inshallah.
Okay,
hopefully
inshallah.
Before the end of the year, if we can.
Yeah.
Along with that, I then graduated university. Went to King's College London and studied physiotherapy. Since then, graduated, worked in various amount of hospitals, including our local one, Homerton, and then after that, branching out into open up the Fighting Physiotherapy Clinic, again based in Bloodline Gym Studio 2 at the moment.
And I'm also but I'm also getting my frozen shoulder treated by you as well. So thanks for that as well.
No problem at all.
So we've got a tournament approaching as well, MyPL4, and the whole community is in on it, and it's being received greatly as well. But during the tournament, the games are intense, and there's a lot of games. Okay, there's like 2.5 hours worth of football in a really short space of time. There's 12-minute games and an 8-minute rest. So in terms of two main areas that I think about is preparation and maintenance.
Yeah.
So firstly, tackling preparation. What would you advise players to be preparing for such intense level of games and for such a long period of time?
Okay, so during the games, you're using different systems within the body. Now you're going to use a cardiovascular aspect, but you also need to use some strength as well. So you have your aerobic system and anaerobic system, one which utilizes oxygen to produce the energy and one which doesn't, which means that you need to be able to build both engines as such. Right. So what I'd say is initially you should be building a larger endurance base. So that's your longer runs. Now long is relative to an individual. I'd say aiming between 5 and 10K, for example. Building up to that and doing it regularly builds your long-term aerobic endurance, which means that you are utilizing oxygen to be able to go for a longer period.
Yeah.
Now, as I know, and within the game, there are going to be short bursts of activity as well, where you can't necessarily use that same sort of physiological system. So what you need to do is, as part of your other workouts, work on shorter circuits or other types of activities where you need to get your heart rate up really quickly and then you get to rest. A typical example of that could be a circuit format of a few different exercises where you work for, let's say, 40 seconds and you rest for 20 seconds. That way you are then tapping into that system as well.
Yeah.
So you're working on both of them.
So it's helping you letting you last throughout the whole tournament, but also recover in terms of, whether it's during the game or between games, or recover in terms of get your energy back and be having those short burst runs again.
Of course, yeah, and that's what the initial longer runs I was discussing is going to be able to do. It's going to allow you to work for the 2.5 hours, or however long it is. And then the other type of workouts is going to be allowing you to work within that short period and not be too fatigued when you do so. Because when you're working at a more intense rate, what you do is naturally the body builds up lactate within the body, which means that the muscles are going to start feeling heavy, the legs are going to feel heavy, you're going to feel more fatigued.
Okay.
So the more we can actually work on that and build that base, the less you're going to feel that during the games or after game 3 or 4, whatever it is.
Okay.
You know?
All right. So during this tournament as well, we've got a 4-week period in terms of between the auction day and the tournament day as well. Is 4 week a good amount of time for people to prepare? What would you advise?
In an ideal world, no.
Okay.
I'd advise at least 6 to 8 weeks to be able to see these changes within the body.
Okay.
Now, if 4 weeks is what you have, then 4 weeks is going to be great. Now, it also depends on where you're starting from. It's going to be quite an individualized answer. So for some people already playing football 3-4 times a week, they're going to have some sort of ability to just go on some sort of fitness. Others who are wanting to join the community and haven't been part of any sort of regular activity in the past or in recent times, then they're going to find that they may struggle. So they should start earlier to build up an endurance base.
Yeah.
Alongside that, within this 6 to 8 week period, alongside the 2 sort of sessions I sort of discussed, it would be ideal if they can get down to the gym as well. Let's say 2 to 3 times a week at a minimum, which means that they're going to be able to build up the muscular strength and the endurance.
For those challenges and stuff like that.
Exactly. It's really important to focus on your core strength because that's going to build your overall strength within the body.
Okay.
But also working on your leg strength and your upper body as well.
Yeah.
Again, to brace the body for some of the impact.
Okay.
Now, when you're there, it's really important not to use really low rep ranges at the time, because you want to be able to utilize strength training for your particular sport. Now, if you're going into bodybuilding or whatever else, then yes, you may need to skew, the amount of reps and sets you do, etc. But if you're working on pure strength, then you work in your lower rep ranges.
Okay.
All right. But depending on what we're doing, we're building a bit more of endurance space. You want to be aiming for, at least 12 reps for some of these things. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be going any lighter. It's going to be lighter relative to a 3 rep, for example. However, you want to make sure that you still lifted a good amount of weight to maintain as much lean mass as possible to maintain your strength throughout the whole session.
Okay. So for next time, I mean, that's like really vital information. The second point as well, that we can still, the advice that you give, we can still use, is around the maintenance that I see, right? Is we've got 12-minute games, 8-minute rest, and then we go again. Yeah. And that's over a 2.5 hours period for 10 games or 15 games, depending on how far you get through. What would you advise that players should do in between that to keep warm, to avoid injuries, and those sort of stuff, just general advice? What would you tell people should do? Okay, so from my understanding, from my experience, the main things you're going to be dealing with, the main problems you're probably going to be dealing with are cramps and increasing risk of you injury, as well as being tired and whatever else, but we already addressed that. So as soon as you get off the pitch, what you should do is try to stay as warm as possible. Oh, okay. So what that means is... Let me get my jumper on. There we go. So you get your jumper on, you get your track bottom on. Yeah. I'll play with my jeans on. I'm that good. Still very skillful, exactly. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you can maintain as much warmth as possible passively, so you're not doing anything. The next important thing to do is to try to deal with the cramps that you will probably start experiencing, as the games go on. Particularly if you haven't hydrated well enough beforehand. So that's the important thing. Before the tournament starts, throughout that day and days before, hydrate. Now, when I say hydrate, it doesn't necessarily mean just with water. Water is, fantastic and you need that, but however, you need the electrolytes you're losing as you begin to sweat. Okay. Now, electrolytes being your magnesium, sodium, potassium, which naturally just leave the body. However, they're really vital in allowing your muscles to work. Where do I get that from? What is that? So you can get tablet forms, you can get powdered forms. It's up to you. The most popular company is SIS, which is Science in Sport. Okay. And you can get them from most places online or in your local sort of sports shop. They go into your water, usually different flavors. You can mix it in there. But I'd say also have another bottle of plain water by itself, and then have those. So when you get off the pitch, get your tracksuit on, and then deal with your fluids which you've lost during that game. Yeah. So again, your electrolytes and your water. Okay. All right. And in terms of like the foods and the just the two would be enough, or would there be other stuff as well that you? No. So as soon as you start getting your fluids in, which is probably the most important thing to be honest, we want to try to
increase your energy again.
Okay.
Now, you need to have quick absorbing carbs to help with this, because again, these are really fast-paced games where you're losing a lot of energy. So things like bananas, dates. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's going to be an easy fix for a lot of people. I mean, like, it's going to be Ramadan all over again. Do you know what I mean? During the day.
Exactly. Yeah, they taste good as well.
Yeah.
So dates, watermelon, you get rice cakes and things like that. Things which are going to absorb in the body really quickly.
Yeah.
Try to stay away from, your Snickers and your Mars and whatever else.
Okay.
Typically, yes, you've seen them sometimes in the Olympics, having them. And yes, they are quick absorbing carbs as well. However, you could probably pick more nutritious things.
Okay.
If you were going to have them, that's not going to be the end of the world. However, you could probably prep healthier things, such as a rice cake with, some peanut butter or whatever else on there, basically jam. Those things are going to be really quick absorbing for the body.
Okay.
Right. So hopefully by this point we're, it's an 8-minute break period, isn't it?
Yes, right.
Okay. So hopefully we have used up the first 3 to 4 minutes, getting warm, making sure we've got our fluids, and now have some food in us as well.
Okay.
So the next 4 minutes are going to be really important, especially if you're playing again, in making sure we can get the body ready to get onto the pitch, which is going to reduce the risk of injury.
Okay.
Rather than standing around for 8 minutes, getting cold, and then going back on the pitch.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll run through a few different things that you can be doing as well.
So you should get your fluids in, get your carbs in, get yourself warm. Right, and then you should basically 3 to 4 minutes have passed, and then you should go into the exercises.
Yeah. Now these movements you can do on the spot. However, you have the ability to use a bit of space. But the reason why it's quite useful is because you can do them on the spot, and you can still listen to your manager, who may want to strategize about the next game or whatever.
You've got to make the time efficient.
Exactly. Okay. So let's say we're facing this way, for example.
Yeah.
First one, you're going to step forward with one leg.
Okay.
You're going to keep it straight, and you're going to feel stretch along the back of your leg, so your hamstring. So you don't want to go too far into the stretch, because again, this is just trying to get the body warmer compared to what it has been for the last 4 minutes. And you step through, and then try the other one again.
So I can feel the stretch here.
Yeah, you feel the stretch on the back of your leg, so your hamstring area, and then you cycle through those. Now you can work these for about 40 seconds or so, and then rest for 20 seconds.
Okay. Okay, and so you want to do about 20 seconds, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, so 40 seconds of work or so, and then you can rest.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't need to be specific, you don't need to get the timer up, but just do a few of these just to get the muscles looser compared to what they were. Because again, within that 4 minute period, although we've got the tracksuit on, it is going to, the body's naturally going to get a little bit cooler.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the first one, just introducing the body to movement again.
Yeah.
The next one, what we're going to do is again, most people do this in their football warm-ups anyway, is going to be your heel kicks. So you're going to be walking forward, going for your heel kicks.
All right, so these are relatively standing on the spot ones.
Yeah.
And keeping warm.
Okay. Yeah, so you can be moving forward with it. It's totally up to you. Now, the intensity of these movements is definitely going to be varied depending on how much energy you have.
Yeah.
Right. It's also going to vary depending on whether you're an older player or a younger player, whatever else. Some people are going to have really good flexibility, and others aren't going to have as much. But that's fine. Yeah. You just need to work to your body and what your body can actually do.
Okay. Yeah, because we do have the age range is from 16, and then the oldest I think is 54.
Right. Okay. So it's a big age.
So you would say the tweak is more not on it, but the amount of repetition and how hard you do it, as opposed to changing the exercise. Yeah, the exercise can be used for regardless of your age. It's just about how intense you're doing these exercises. Now, again, this is meant to be the warm-up and get the body ready for another game. It's not meant to be the game itself. Okay. So this is just prepping the body ready for it. So we shouldn't feel that we should avoid it because we might get tired and not have enough energy. This is actually going to benefit you. 100%. To be optimum into the next game. Yeah, you're getting the body ready for the game. And you're reducing the risk of injury. Essentially, if you go from being cold for 8 minutes and start running again, you sprint as quick as you can for the ball, you're very likely going to pull your hamstring or whatever else. You know. Hamza, listen to that. You're going to pull your hamstring. So you want to make sure that you're prepping the body ready for what it needs to do. So the next one you can be doing, again, run on the spot, but getting these knees a bit higher, okay? And again, it's just utilizing a lot of the muscles in the lower body. Yeah. So again, getting tired should not be really a concern. No, I mean, if this is getting anyone tired, they should probably not be playing, 12 games of football, in all honesty, right? It's, again, it's just part of the warm-up, that's all. Now, again, you can lift your knees higher if you wanted to, or you can just go a little bit lower. It's totally up to you, depending on what your ability is. And again, you can do this one on the spot, or you can be moving forward. It's totally up to you. And what about like from the upper body side of things? From the upper body side of things, what you can be doing is sort of rotations, or thoracic rotation. Now, if you step forward into a lunge, for example,
So it's going to be good for the legs. Have your arms straight, and then turn out to the side,
Yeah.
back into the middle, and then step back. So have your right leg in front, rotate to the right,
Okay.
step back. Good,
Yeah.
left leg in front, rotate to the left.
Yeah.
So what you're going to find is that it's going to stretch your mid back.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really important for rotational movements when you're looking over your shoulder, you're running, etc. So you need to make sure that's quite nimble as well.
Okay.
So that's going to be quite a good one you can be doing again.
So would you say that's the key ones in that short amount of time in the short video that you would advise people to do?
Yeah. So there's 4 different movements there, and most people, in fact, everyone's going to be able to do those as well.
Yeah.
You just need to adjust depending on your body type.
Exactly, and you can listen to instructions. They're not interrupting your 8 minutes.
No.
Really.
No.
Okay.
Now, if you are, for example, a sub and you are coming into the game, let's say it's a 12-minute game, right?
Yeah, but let's say somebody misses a game and has to extended period of.
So if let's say you miss a full game, and you're not going to play a full game, so that's 12 minutes plus the 8-minute break.
Yeah.
So that's what 20 minutes. You're not going to be resting. You can just rest for a little bit.
Yeah.
Get your fluids in, keep your tracksuit on, etc. But then you're getting ready. I'd say at least 5-6 minutes beforehand, start getting the body ready. And you can utilize some of these movements as well during that time. Just so when you do get onto the pitch, again, your body's ready to do something.
Absolutely. Okay, so you guys, MyPL family, you heard from Yusuf Ali-Taleb, who's in the profession of basically fixing people like me who have had injuries, who have not been keeping warm or warming down or training properly and stuff. So that's what we need to do to make sure we avoid injuries on the day as well. Yusuf Ali-Taleb, thank you so much for your time again as well. Just before we do leave, how can people get in touch with you if they want to access some of your services?
So most people will know me in the area, so you can get my number off someone that you know. However, you can access my website, thefightingphysiotherapist.com. I'm on Instagram as well, the same title, The Fighting Physiotherapist. If you wanted to shoot me an email, because I know some of you like emails, thefightingphysiotherapist@gmail.com.
Okay, Jazakallah, bro.
Well, it's not taken.
Was that right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Behind the scenes, yeah?
Nice.
Behind the scenes.
Right, what was that click? Did you come into the video? We have to put an old thing there.
Yeah, go on.
I'll come show you some stuff, man. Alright, let's start with the jab. 1, 2, 3. 3 kick.
Upper body, come on, upper body.
3, the body shot. And cross on the end. Good, and uppercut. And another hook. 3, boom. 1, cross. Uppercut, hook.
Professional. Professional.